This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gab-fed show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Make it clear that the views expressed by our host are not considered the official stance of MBR views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with hosts MJ and Terry. Each week we put today's news into perspective. Tune in Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, X, YouTube, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, or anywhere you get your podcasts. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi, Terry. How are you?
Good. How are you? Long time.
I know,
What
right?
it seems like.
I think I get hijacked or something. I don't know. But yes, we're here. We're back. And maybe we'll see a little bit of Mr. What's he call himself now? HR something?
HR nightmare.
HR nightmare. That would be our own H-Train Joe Hunt. And maybe we'll see him coming into the show. But we are Beyond the Headlines tonight. We talk about some things that are going on in the headline that brings controversies, or our own headlines that didn't really make the TV grade headline. And we put them out there. And if it's a negative retro course, we're going to try to do a foot pattern. If not, we get to talk about it, give you our opinions of it and why we think it's important or not important, if you even care about our opinions. But we do, we care. And so we're going to come on and we're going to speak about it. So my friend Terry tonight has a really good one. And we were discussing it before we realized that, oh my God, we got to jump on a shot. So I wanted to do that one because that's on our good train of mind and our good focus right now. So Terry, what is going on?
So I wanted to talk tonight about the SAFE Act, and it stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, which, there's nothing wrong with that. It's HR 22, and it was introduced by Representative Chip Roy, Republican of Texas, in January of 2025. And it mandates that individuals provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship while registering to vote in federal elections. Acceptable documents include a valid U.S. passport, birth certificate, or enhanced driver's license indicating U.S. citizenship. The bill also requires states to remove non-citizens from the voter rolls and allows for private lawsuits and criminal penalties against election officials who fail to enforce these provisions. Well, in and of itself, it doesn't sound bad. It sounds like something that we definitely want to do is, make sure people that are voting are citizens of the U.S.
Right.
So some of the pros are enhanced election integrity, and then broad public support. But some of the cons are disenfranchisement and risk. Critics say that eligible voters, this might be particularly marginalized groups would have trouble, like married women, for instance, who have changed their name because of marriage or what have you. Yeah. And if they're low income, sometimes that's hard to do. And implementing this change is going to be hard too. They said they're talking about that, and then they're talking about legal challenges against the act as well. And it said that it passed the House and is now under consideration in the Senate. Its future remains uncertain, with ongoing debates about the potential impact on voter participation and election integrity. And so we were talking because it is hard for somebody that maybe will never travel outside the US for whatever reason. They're just not one that would want to. And so they don't really need a passport because they're not going anywhere. But then if they're required to get one in order to prove up who they are, it's expensive to get a passport. And it takes weeks to get one. It may take up to 8 weeks to get a passport. So if you're trying at the last minute or everyone's applying at the same time, you may not get your passport in time to vote because you have to show eligibility. And if you can't get that proof, or if there's with applications, with any application you turn in for passport, there can be questions and they can send it back and say, we need more information. This isn't enough. There's a disconnect with names or something like that. And so you may be delayed in getting it and then therefore not able to vote. So that's kind of a concern on my part. And then any married woman that has had multiple name changes throughout time, myself included, like my military records don't even match because of it. My VA records and my service records, they don't match. And I have to prove up who I am, even though I've spent 33 and a half years in the military. I still have to prove up who I am. So it's like that seems like that's too much of a problem or a hassle. And it might marginalize and disenfranchise people and dissuade them from voting is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Terry, I'm right there with you. Number one, too bad Jules not in here. I saw him online, but he's not in here because he has the fancy dancy bat computer to tell us this. But I believe just because I moved to the state of Pennsylvania, to fly out of the state of Pennsylvania, you have to be able to they're claiming it was a passport, but now I think the people in Pennsylvania to get back in had to have it. I can't remember how that went, but it was in the same lines that you were doing having the passport. I believe the reason that a lot of our states are going through with the passports is because they're trying to get a hold of all these open borders. At one point, they were trying to mandate and get a hold of the national records. So everybody had national records because people were jumping bails and open borders and going places, and nobody could ever identify them because of what's that called? Not protocol. What do they call that? The CIA's, is it not protocol? Anyway, there's something where identifications. Interpol, where they can pull the data, right?
Yeah.
So, and I believe that's why originally everything wanted to go to passport. But our states, they have issues just within themselves. I truly believe a belief and flip, and I'm going to try to get some senators out there. I'm going to write to them. This thing, it's an old belief system. It's an old pattern. And here, look, he just did it. All right, H-Train. If you're asking what the qualifications are to fly from Pennsylvania to another state, here's its really simple breakdown. ID requirement. You need to have a valid government ID throughout the airport TSA, most driver's license, but passport. No. Okay. So I guess it didn't pass because there was an election. I remember my mother calling. I was still in Florida, and there was an election up here that was requiring, just like that in Texas, they wanted everybody to have a passport. And that's why I think that's where that came in my head. And I think it was either 2016 or 2020 where that happened, where they were voting on ID requirement. So thank you, Batcave, Jewel, HR, whatever.
HR nightmare.
HR wreck. You and those dreads. But thank you. That's what it is. And I see it. And like I said, everything has an old pattern and an old belief system. And I truly believe that women, okay, I think we really need to figure out, is it worth the actual Scooby snack? Oh, I'm going to give you a Scooby snack, sir. We're going to have a way, like you said, your name as a female, mine, nothing matches. And okay, I'm going to give you 3 times. And if you really want to think about it, I had 4 names because I had my birth name and I've been married 3 times.
Yeah.
What a night. You talk about HR nightmare. What a nightmare. What
Yeah.
a nightmare this is. And nothing matches to the point now. I did my service in Pennsylvania. I got my license here at 16. I even had my change of I got married in Pennsylvania with the name, turned around, changed the name to Actong, right? And then I just never remarried until Ozzy, like way far, just raised my babies and that was it. And I changed my name, moved back to Pennsylvania, right? And Pennsylvania doesn't even recognize me as a citizen of the United States. A veteran who is a 100% disabled veteran who came from signed up in Pennsylvania, went to the freaking service, and you don't know who I am?
Right.
Okay, there's Interpol. Like, really, what's a passport going to do? And they required me to go back to Miami to get all of my my marriage certificates and my divorce certificates and bring them in to get a valid driver's license.
The real ID. And so they're saying you can't fly without a real ID either. So people that doesn't have a star on their driver's license will not be able to fly pretty soon. I think they extended it out a couple of years, but I think that time frame has passed and now it is required to have the real ID or you're not flying.
May 5th. May 5th is the deadline here in Pennsylvania. I don't know about other states, but I can tell you here in Pennsylvania. And of course, my passport is not my new married name. Not new. I mean, we've been married now, 7 years, but it's not that married name. It's the other married name, which I have to have all that paperwork anyway to go through for all that. Right. But that's still, you're right. That's expensive.
It is expensive to get it changed and to just the hassle and the wait time and everything else. It just takes a while to do all that. It's not an easy go. And sometimes you just get so frustrated. You say, never mind, I'm just going to leave it because I don't want to mess with it. Absolutely. I want to deal with it.
Yeah. Yep. And it's like crazy. So what's that guy say? Yeah, I got my notice of my upcoming flights. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that went out. There was a letter in the mail that went out to us as well. What's he say? Good question. Here's the straight answer. A real ID. May 7th. So my Pennsylvania thing said May the 5th, but there you go. May the 7th, folks. Here we got it. I really hope they don't do passports because the people who are struggling already to put 2 nickels together, they're looking at up to $250 at least just for a passport.
Right. It is expensive. It's over $100. I don't know what the current rate is. I think it might be like $145. I used to do passports, so I have some awareness of the process. Yeah. And I can tell you that some people can't get passports for whatever reason too. There are some that are denied passports. So what happens in that case? And they are citizens. I mean, some of them that would be denied would be those that have a criminal record that aren't allowed to vote anyway. But there are some that still can't get it for other reasons. And so what do they do if they can't prove citizenship? I mean, if they can't provide all the other documents?
The Amish who just voted in this past election, you're really going to make them get a passport?
Yeah, they're probably not going anywhere, probably.
No. And it's the same thing. What about all the Native Indians? They're going to have a passport? They're going to have some issues. I mean, the Amish aren't going to get on a plane, but the Mennonite would. You know what I mean? And the Quakers. So it's a mess. It's a big mess. They're either going to have to bring the prices down on those stupid ass passports if they truly want identification purposes for everybody, or they're going to have to come up with having one isolated ID. I think that's when you're born, you have one ID, like a dog tag, right? Implement it wherever the hell you want it, but that is your ID.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the need to vet people and for voter registration. I get it, but I just think it's a bridge too far to require everyone to get a passport, or then, to get a passport too, if you have a foreign birth certificate and it's in a foreign language, it has to be transcribed and it has to be certified because it won't be acceptable for a U.S. passport if it's in another language. It has to be, the whole thing has to be put into English and then certified by whoever did it. And then that is what would go forward with a passport. So if you can't even, get your your birth certificate transcribed into English, or you can't even get your birth certificate maybe because maybe those connections are lost overseas with wherever you were born, you've got a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to take a quick break. Think about it, folks. Go out there. Think about what we're saying. Think about how it's going to affect you and your family, maybe even your grandparents, at this late in the game, if you want them as, and think about it. They're in their 80s and all of a sudden you want them at, their grandchild's graduation coming up here in May, and now they need a passport or they need yeah, that's going to be tough. Think about it. Give us some comments while we sit here. We're going to go and play a little bit of Die Tired because I really like their music. And we're going to do the...
We can fly across the ocean with our arms spread open wide. Follow me as far as you can, baby. You and me got nothing left to hide. And all our friends will be there with us. We've got nothing left to fear. Running free as far as we can until laughter is the only thing we hear. That's all we
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for military broadcast.
I give up. Okay, I am going to step away from the control panel. Terry's going to take over our page because I don't know what's up with my clicker. I don't know if it's getting stuck, but I'm like, I don't know what it's doing. So I am just not going to touch it.
No worries. We got this. I love that video. I love the horses in that video, of course.
Oh, you know what they remind me of? Have you ever been to Chincoteague Island?
No, but I want to go.
Oh,
I want
my
to.
gosh. That's what those horses remind me of in that video. Hey, look, it's H Train.
It is. The HR nightmare has arrived.
Hey, Joel, how did it go when you had to change your name? Did you have all those issues?
Did I have all the issues on what?
Wait, what the heck happened here? Why am I the big dog? Can somebody take over the controls?
I think that's Joel doing that.
Oh,
That's the HR nightmare.
Yeah.
Joel,
There we go.
There you go.
That's better.
dude, I'm not having electronical day today. First, my voice.
I know, right? You know what? Blame earlier on StreamYard.
Okay.
It's the gremlins. It's the air gremlins.
That's what you do, you know? And like when you go to the grocery store, if something's expensive, whoever the president is, just blame it on them, you know?
It's their fault. Yes.
Right. Exactly. I did. I shouted out Trump today too. I was like, "See the controller." all is good. So, but H Train, I want you to answer that. How hard was it when you changed your name?
Change my name on what?
When you got married?
I don't know. I didn't change my name. That would be a wifey question.
Well, see, you guys are smart. This is what we're talking about. We got pressured. We got pressured by you men to change our name.
Yeah.
So you could own us. I'm putting it out there.
True, very true.
See, he owns it.
I don't know why it's like that.
I know. But you know what? Old belief patterns. I truly believe that they always took the name because it was more like a bond. It was, I do believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly, that sometimes the ways have to change because as you see, I can't, what was the Holly, what was her name? Black hair. I can't, not Sophia Loren. What's the other one?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Are you talking about Holly Berry?
No, she's older than that. You're talking about the one that was Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh my God, she must have been married, 15 times?
A lot. Yes, a lot.
I know. Can you imagine that nightmare?
Yeah, she never changed her name. It was Elizabeth Taylor.
Exactly. But I don't think she was born Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, I'm not sure what her actual name was. But she didn't change it. Once she got established in her career, it didn't change.
Yeah. See, those ladies are smart. How come you didn't pass that knowledge?
Well, they probably did. They probably wrote a book. We just didn't buy it.
Right. That could be it too.
I told you I don't like to read. I'm not a reader. I'll listen to audio, but I'm not I'm not going to read that.
I'm
So,
an audiobook subscriber.
I am. I don't like to read. I think if I'm driving somewhere, that audiobook will get me right to where I need to go, right? So I get two things done at the same time. Yeah, and it's not that I can't read. It's that for me to sit and read, I feel it's like, I don't know, a waste of time.
You're not being productive.
Right. I can
actually be multitasking.
Amen. So I can put my headbuds in and I can go and mow the lawn and listen to the story. Right.
What I don't like about those apps is that you have to have like some kind of a subscription. And with somebody like me that has a hard time of remembering, the past and the present, it's like, oh shit, I got a subscription to 24-hour fitness. I haven't been there in a while. It's something kind of like that. Because those subscriptions add up.
Get that app.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, get the app Rocket Money, and then it'll show you where all your money's going.
So Elizabeth Taylor's name was Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor. So it was Elizabeth Taylor when she was born. Yeah, 1932.
There you go. But she never changed her name. Look at that.
She didn't. Nope.
Dang.
She said, nope, not doing it.
I'm pretty sure Jane Fonda did.
Did she? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because
I don't know if it was because of the married part or the whole Vietnam thing. Either way, I'm pretty
Hanoi
sure
Jane?
your name.
I still see her in urinals. How come? How come
an easy target.
Okay, so we're supposed to like let things go, but we still can't. How come the military, when we talk about Jane, I love GI Jane, and we still have that rub. Especially our old timers who know about Jane Fonda and what she did.
Her name was Jane Seymour Fonda, so she didn't change her name either.
Here's the thing: time passes, and eventually, like, unless somebody brings it up, people forget. Like, for example, 2 years ago for July 4th, I played
What did you play with, Joel?
No. So
Please tell us.
lost my train of thought at the worst time, like being hung up on T-Mobile. No, so where were we going with this? I've totally lost space.
You said people forget over time about what somebody did or
yeah.
what was going on at a particular time with
so
someone.
People forget over time. I know 2 years ago I played July 4th. Bruce Springsteen's I Was Born in a Small Town. Very, very
Born in the USA.
Born in the USA. Very, very common, right? It's a common song that you hear at 4th of July. And then somebody reached out. You realize he was a draft dodger. No, I didn't, because I wasn't alive during that damn era,
Right. Yeah.
So they don't forget. It's that because they don't, it's impossible to teach the history like we were taught because there's so much history. Now,
what we know is world history. That's more like slang history.
Right. That's true too. So, I don't know. People, I think in time as it passes, until somebody decides that they're going to dig up something from, like, here you go, JFK. Now you're going to dig up all this stuff on JFK, and then everybody's going to have their opinions that didn't even live how many years ago, but they're going to put their opinion of something that's already 60 years old. Yeah. Seriously.
But why? What the people wanted, that's the thing.
Yeah, but people wanted it for so long, but they're the baby boomers. They want to know what the hell happened to their president.
Yeah.
Right? Most of the people today were not born. They didn't even know. I mean, yeah, JFK is one of your presidents. JFK got shot. Great. That's great. But come on, it's to the point of you're going to open up these records to get the truth, but there's more in the records than just the truth of a shot. And now they're exploiting, how that president cheated on First Lady. Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to throw that garbage in there?
Why does the government have to disclose it as like top secret, documents that isn't free to the public? If, when I know that when I turned 21, like I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I get alcohol. I can't wait till I get alcohol. And then when I was like 22, 23, I didn't give a shit about it anyway. Reason because it was something that I couldn't do. If the government would just let everybody know everything and wouldn't keep things top secret, there wouldn't be there wouldn't be conspiracies because the government would be transparent. Why is to say, and I brought this up a long time ago, why is to say that either like a nonprofit or even the federal government, why can't it show like that's bank statements so the public can see what they're spending the money on? Because if we had something like that, that's true transparency, and people might start trusting the government a little bit more, because as well as I do in a relationship, once you cheat or once you lie to the person, that bar of trust is kind of gone, and there's not really a whole lot that you can do to get it back.
Yeah, we all know about Mary Jo Kopovich. I mean, that's part of how I got my name. But but it's sad. I was like, And so I always laugh, and I tell my mom all the time, I said, you named me Mary Jo after Mary Jo Popovich. She goes, well, I like that name. She goes, the Mary Jo part. And I go, but you didn't even spell it like her. She goes, well, no, because you're born on Christmas. And she goes, so I go, so now you made me in Spanish, Marijo. So you made me the happy whore. I was like, right back to Mary Jo Popovich. What the hell is that? And she goes, well, I didn't think of it that way. She goes, your name's not Matty Ho. I go, oh, yeah? Go down to Central and South America, go to Florida, anywhere that has heavy Spanish, and they will call me Matty Ho. And I was like, so I became Matty Matty.
Don't worry about it. I get calls every day. Hello, can I speak to Joel? There's no Joel on the phone here.
Yeah, so you can say, like, somebody up here, there's a restaurant called Leroy's. I go, you mean Leroy?
Tell me how you don't know me. How you can tell me you don't know me.
Leroy. I go, let's make it bougie.
Right.
It's like Target. We're gonna make it bougie. What's it say? What's he say here? You can't what? You can't say transparency. It's a conspiracy. Right. So that's what I'm saying.
But if you took away the non-transparency, if you put everything under a magnifying glass, everything, then more people would trust the government. They would.
Yeah. So
people create conspiracies to.
There's downfalls with that too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no DOD. There's no. It's strategio all over again as a child playing it, where you don't let people know what your DOD is, because then your either battleship gets sunk, and in strategio, your men get killed. So there is a part.
And I want to address this this comment, because I've seen this comment a lot, and this is my honest opinion. They're going to release the Epstein files first day. My thinking is, I don't give a shit if they release those files, because I think everybody already knows who is on that list. We don't need something to like confirm it. We already know it, and since we already know it, we don't support, either if they're an actor or they're a rock star or whatever, doesn't matter. We kind of already know, so we don't need evidence to show us that we were right. Just like
for sure. But how, when you say we know, I'm just playing devil's advocate. How do we know? How do we know whose name? We can say we know, but do we really know? Do you really 100% know? I can sit here and say, I bet you I know 12 of my fishing people who went on there. I'll guarantee you, because I know that type of person. But if they release it, there it's going to be, it's going to be, well, I confirmed it. So yeah, is that bad news for the men? Yeah, it is. It's real bad news. It's also bad news for women who also decided to fly over there, and
right. I agree. And when you say we need prosecution, I can tell you right now, if anything is a brighter example than the whole Trump case, nobody's going to get prosecuted, because everybody's in the good old boy system. There might be like, money law, stuff like that, but it's going to be swept in the rug. So everybody's, wanting to. I do.
Wow.
I do.
I don't. I mean, look at what's going on right now with Diddy. I mean, he's answering up to everything he's done over 12, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, however long it's been. He's finally getting to pay the piper for things he's done. And it took forever, but now he's feeling the wrath of the justice system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I with Diddy already said if he's going down, everybody's going down.
Right.
And
he's already been mentioning their names. That's the reason why I'm like, do we really need a list? I mean, especially if it's
that's different. I think Diddy is different than Epstein. And if you're going to go with that, then you should go all the way back to Weinstein, because it started with Weinstein. So
Yeah.
go to Weinstein, then Epstein, then Diddy. But that's the circle of sex trafficking. And I really believe that those people's names need to come out.
And I think they're all connected.
Those babies, those poor little girls who got kidnapped at such a young flippin' age, they need their restitution. They need to have these people, this is who did this to me. And I think that we as individuals should honor the victims, those girls, those victims who were. And so if you were part of knowing those girls were there and kidnapped and you didn't say a thing, forget the sex part. You didn't do your duty as a humanitarian. You didn't do your duty as a human.
Very true. But again, are we talking about what's going to happen, or are we going to talk about what's going to eventually happen? Like, are we talking about is what we want to happen, or are we talking about what's really going to happen? Because you hit the nail on the noggin. P. Diddy, how long has he been in jail? Has he been prosecuted yet? No, he's been in jail. He hasn't been prosecuted yet. They haven't read the verdict. You haven't seen courtroom stuff. They're laying it low. They're laying it low because there's a lot involved, and some of that's involved is political leaders. You know, I voted for Trump. Okay, the big thing.
You did what?
No, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we voted, and they I feel that they kind of use the political system against him on certain things. Okay, so that tells me, besides the attempt assassination, those two things, that told me that even though I don't like some of the things that he says or some things that he does, like I already thought it was screwed up when Harris started in that position. Even though I didn't like Biden, I'm like, whoa, what is this? And even the news media is like, this is something that's never happened in America. Yet, well, you think maybe it didn't happen in America is because there wasn't some kind of fishing going on, like the good old boy system. That's what I mean. Now, for them to be prosecuted, he's exactly right. I would love that to be done. And I can assure you, since Trump's in office, if it would to be prosecuted, it would be prosecuted. Like he would make that happen. Okay.
He signed for to come open Epstein's list. He put Diddy's list. He put Weinstein's list. He put them all. He had them to open the cases. But I think the problem is there is, like you said, it's so deep.
Yes.
It is so seated and disgusting that they have to cover all bases and all angles. Because if not, it'll come up defamation of character. It'll come up.
All these political people, they know each other because they went to Yale College together.
Wow.
Some of them went to Harvard together. You see what I mean? I mean, we can sit here and talk about what we want to happen, but I'm just telling you what's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. The only person that can probably make that happen and change that is Trump. But I'm telling you that Trump's going to be fighting a bunch of other stuff before he's going to be able to fight this stuff, because they're going to make sure of it.
Soros is the richest Democrat Party member there is. He was on our domestic terrorist watch in the 80s in the military. You want to tell me how our politicians are taking money and hailing that right now? That's sickening. So all our 5-star generals that we have in our military, what are you doing? Seriously. You want to know why Milley was canned? You want to know why Powell was canned? You want to know why? I mean, I already told you. Intel was part of my thing. And I don't agree. I completely disagree with some of them having a transparency such as this. It's going to cause a disruption. It's going to cause a tsunami wave. and it's going to cause issues. And yes, I like Ike. You are absolutely right. Sex, drugs in the Hollywood goes back so far back to Charlie Chaplin, probably even worse. And yes, there was prostitution, and there has been. I mean, prostitution has been around since hostile days with carriages and wagons and saloons. So I get that, but they were not children. Children became yes, and the children weren't stolen and kidnapped and then trafficked over across sea somewhere where no matter what you were doing here in the United States, you're never going to find that child. And
we need to take a quick break because we've only taken one and we're almost getting out of our time. So let's play Chemistry Club Bend to Colors, and we'll watch our own H train in the video.
Woohoo!
Down Lincoln again, droplets form against the windows, early morning light and shadows bend to colors, reaching for the lenses in my eyes which take them, turn them upside down, and though I do not know quite how, they will be turned right back around and spit back out. Conduits and cabling which disassemble them, processing from noise and light still springs in static motion and information. I suddenly see that the reason is everywhere around us, is everywhere around us. Bus stop standing on the corner, passengers are waiting, and I sit in silence, half asleep, and I wonder what they each are thinking. Woman with off-white woolen cap, the young man staring at the sidewalk where the tip of her umbrella touches to the ground. And the distance between strangers can sometimes be quite alarming, but today the bus comes to carry us together into the morning. I suddenly see that the reason is everywhere around us, is everywhere around us. And I suddenly see that the reason is everywhere around us, is everywhere around us. Walking down Lincoln again, droplets form against the windows, early morning light and shadows bend to colors, reaching for the lenses in our eyes which take them, turn them upside down, and though I do not know quite how, they will be turned right back around and spit back out. Conduits and cabling which disassemble them for processing from noise and light still frames in static motion and information. I suddenly see that the reason is everywhere around us, is everywhere around us. And I suddenly see that the reason is everywhere around us, is everywhere around us.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at MBRadio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back. There's the star of the show.
I'm
Or the
just
star of the video.
Look at you, soldier.
I love that. I love that.
And that's your even doggy dog there.
All right, now that I chased the audience away with my political, I was telling one guy that one time where he was on a TikTok live, and he's like, "Hey, do me a favor," and I'm like, "What?" I thought he was sincere, and he's like, "Yeah, don't go vote." Okay, all right, thanks. Kind of thing. So
democracy,
right?
We fight for everybody's freedom to have a freedom of speech and democracy to vote.
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, we can sit here and complain. Awesome. We can sit here and complain, but nothing's going to happen. And when people start complaining, I then look at them. I'm like, well, you know what? If you don't like the president, raise a bunch of money and run.
There you go.
Just like don't talk to me about politics. I didn't fart. You didn't fart in front of me.
So anyway, so we're back to the identity thing, right? So, and we're back to the identity theft again. So these children who got kidnapped, here's your identity paperwork problem issue again. They don't even know, some of these don't even know their real name. They were taken so young. So yeah. I believe that I like to say karma is divinely playing out beautifully, right? And this is just how life works, right? Sooner or later, you're going to get caught. It may, you may get caught 60 years down the road, but sooner or later, you're going to get caught. But I really do believe that there has to be a little bit of transparency. I don't think the world needs to know all the ugliness, right? That really hurt me because I was such a child, I guess, prior to their dating and their, stuff like that. And I really didn't see it in my youthfulness. I just saw her as being beautiful on TV.
Well, there's a lot of movies that we watch now, MJ, and we're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Thinking, back when you were younger, oh, that's kind of funny. And then when you grow up and you watch that same film, they're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. And you laugh even harder. But I think that's everybody.
Yeah, but to be the president of the United States, to do something so malice, especially to the first lady, I have an issue. I really have an issue with that. And that's sad because why would I? It's none of my business. But I feel what he was doing was giving wrong information, especially if the news media and people knew about it. He was servicing our country wrongly. And that is not, I made it the art of the deal. And I remember telling you all about my friend who said when I got fired in the fishing industry, I couldn't even believe I was on top of the world and top of the game. I was like making this guy thousands, millions, and he fires me as his consultant. I couldn't believe it. And the only thing he says is, I'm sorry, you know too much.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. The man's industry, right? Well, what he was saying, because he found out that I got pictures from captains of his shenanigans. And so my mentor in the industry said, MJ, I'm going to just tell you something. You did nothing wrong. He goes, let's just start there. And he goes, and then let's put another arrow on there. He goes, when they say you know too much, it's because you know of his shenanigans. I go, everybody knows of his shenanigans. I go, with or without pictures, everybody knows it. And I go, so there's nothing, there. And he said, listen, your sacred vow in life that you give, your promise one time to somebody, if they cheat on you, they'll dispose of you quicker than shit if they can't even keep that promise. He goes, think about that. He goes, think about the person who does that. So if that reasoning would be you promised to run and you promised to do X, Y, and Z, and you used that rule for yourself. You used it for your own self-ignorance and your own self-centeredness. And then you used the Secret Service and you use those people around you to hide from what you want to do that was unlawful and ill. And that is just vile. That's grotesque. So now it just changed my whole perspective of JFK, and that's really sad on my part. I never wanted to know that information, ever, because I truly believe that he was a good president. He was a president for the middle class. He was a president for the working people. And maybe his personification was, well, he goes, there's no, I mean, social media wasn't out, so I'm sure there was a lot. And I know I like was probably going to say this is happening a lot, and I get it. It probably was. It probably was, because it was easier to hide things.
Mm-hmm.
Those women, it was probably a lot easier, but the truth always comes out, right?
Yeah, it does eventually.
Karma divinely plays beautifully, and whether it's good or bad, and there it is. So that's pretty sad. Well, but I do agree, for the women's sake, they should release those lists for just because of the women, and give them something to say, you knew it and you didn't even help me. And the women who go over there, like, we know that Miss Oprah Winfrey went there because that's been highlighted why did you not help? You say that you're the humanitarian. You say that you are here to raise people and get their story told, but yet you didn't tell those poor girls' stories.
No, because she is acting. She is acting to get what she wants. And I bet you anything that P. Diddy might be the scapegoat, and Oprah Winfrey might be the prime person. If you ever thought of that.
Well, I think they did, because there was something that I read on, where did I read it? I don't know, but it wasn't like a social media. It was actually one of like the FBI's or CIA. You can go to the libraries and see the stuff, right? And one of those libraries, I was reading that they had questioned the searching of the missing girls in the African schools. And they're trying to see if this is, probable where those girls were. So, anyway, that's a sad subject.
Yeah,
That's a very sad subject. And I pray and I hope everybody balances with grace and humility, and that justice is served, and that people regain with love, beauty, and honor at some point, because that's remarkable.
Well, just think. Football season's coming soon, so that means everybody's going to shift their political hatredness to the NFL football hatredness, and you're going to see all the smack talk. So just wait, everybody. It'll get better.
Well, first we have to go through baseball. You're jumping. We got baseball. Now.
Nobody cares about baseball.
Ouch! Ouch! Joel, this is a rubber band. Watch it, buddy. Watch it. Come on now. We got baseball.
Right. That's right. I'm from the Colorado. Of course nobody cares about baseball. We don't have exactly an influence. So yeah, you're exactly right.
I don't know. What is happening out there in Colorado, Joel? Beyond the headlines. Why can't you straighten that crap out there?
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
Not enough time to go there.
There's not enough time to go there. Well, I tell you what, this is definitely this is the kind of state that if a police officer pulls you over, if you have weed, cocaine, and a gun in your car, they're going to confiscate the gun.
Okay. Well, it keeps people safe.
Yeah.
Forget the arsenal of, overdosing.
Right.
I don't know what else to say about that. It's a fun world that we live in.
It is.
This is fun. And then you get to see how we all blend in the beautiful melting pot.
I tell you what, I would say probably 90% of Americans are on like Ritalin or some kind of a medication. There would be less crazy in the world if we just like started giving people, different medicine to see if it would help them.
Take the edge off a little bit.
I got your pill right here. Right
I got it. I'm not going to say that it's stuck, but I got it.
That's all you need are hollow stickers with Dr. Ray frequencies. I'm telling you, right there's your freaking pill. I don't even need a nail anymore.
I love it.
That.
I love it.
I know. I keep going, Elon Musk and all you beautiful science people. We will get rid of big pharma soon enough. Joel, I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
Is it true or is it just crap on news crap? Because isn't it funny how RFK, as soon as he came in, there are measles outbreaks all over the place and he hasn't even done anything. But there are measles outbreaks.
Well, you even said it yourself, MJ, that, especially. Hold on,
Don't choke up, man.
Especially right now in society, like the best thing that you can do for media source is go to the whitehouse.com or go to the archives, because like either way, if you go over to Newsmax or you go to Fox News, we already know what their agenda is. If you go over to CNN or ABC or something like that, you already know their agenda. So I would say save yourself some heartache, save yourself some researching, and just go to the primary source,
Well, I'm going to HR Library right here. I mean, come on, HR Library.
Hey, I'm telling you, ChatGPT. Hey, I tell you what, it's like the secretary, the VA secretary, the one that's in charge of like the healthcare and benefits. I really like him because he's corrected some media outlets. Yes. And this is the thing, when you watch TikTok or any media outlet, almost all the time is doom and gloom. And gloom. They're going to be in TikTok. Okay, well, they just banned me last week, so screw TikTok, So
what the hell did you do for the millennia of years before TikTok?
AOL Instant Messenger.
Right.
And what did you do before that? Like, I'm looking at people going, you're really getting upset over social media crap?
They really are.
I get it. No, I get it. I listened to a girl who owns a ranch, a horse ranch, something Springs in Tennessee.
Oh, yes. Katie
Van Slikes. Yes.
Okay.
Very, very in the big industry. Yeah. And she even made that same like scenario. What are we doing? And she's like, I don't need my parents' money. I've been making money on TikTok by getting stuff, showing it, putting the codes. Like, that's how she made her money.
Right.
I don't know. She was like, yeah.
Let me ask you this, MJ.
I'm sorry?
Let me ask you this, MJ. If tomorrow they decided to ban TVs, we would be a lot more upset than the people talking about, the banned TikToks. Because you got to remember that, that's me and your outlet, the TV, right? These new kids, it's not the TV, it's their phone, it's TikTok. Yeah. So you have to understand, we kind of laugh at it, but hell, we'd be kind of up shit creek if our TVs were banned.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I had to watch my lamb chops and Hatchie Malachi. Thank you. I got 6 channels on that damn TV. What the hell is I going to do without Captain Kangaroo?
Right?
Right, Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street.
Cowboy Bob.
That's right.
Cowboy Bob.
I think you have to live up north.
That Howdy Doody? Cowboy Bob?
No.
Oh.
That's different. That's
different. Cowboy Bob was
how far north do I need to live? Damn, I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm freezing. Not the kind of not freezing, but I'm freezing.
You're more east. We're talking like direct hit iceberg.
Okay. North Central. I get you. Not East Central. I get you.
Yeah. You guys have a whole set of rules, let me tell you. When I go to your grocery store, you guys got different name brands on the East Coast.
Dude, my neighbors are a pain in the ass. They have methane. They put nitrate in my land. All they do is sit there and groan and moan. There's 250 black of them. They just need to get out. They need to go to the other side of that hill or something. I don't know. We're going to shit in a hell basket real soon. But listen, it's 59 minutes. We got to go because we have to end the show.
We do.
I know. And thank you, Joel. Thank you, Terry. I love this show. And I hope everybody out there loves the show as much as we do, for some camaraderie to make something that's negative, turn it into a positive, or have fun with it anyway. Don't take life too seriously, folks. Because nobody's getting out of here alive.
That's true.
Bye. See you next week, Monday, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us, giving our veterans a voice.